Well, good afternoon, ladies and gents. As you heard, it's Eugene this side. Just once again, if you have any issues with regards to the presentation, any uncertainties and so forth, please feel free to type it into the chat box or raise your hands alternatively, and Patrick will stop me or interrupt, and he will answer the questions or clarify any uncertainties. If you can't hear me, I'm busy talking. If you can't hear me right now, just please raise your hand so that we can attend to the audio settings on your side. If you can't see the screen should be Tabsa Mixers 1.1. If you can't see that by now, you also need to raise your hands in terms of the audio and the visual. Okay, it seems like there's no issues. Okay, I'm going to continue with the presentation. Just want to get a little bit of a highlighter here. There we go. Okay. Tabsa Mixers 1.1 can basically be classified in three specific classifications in terms of how they function and so forth. This is basically across the brands, Grower, Visca and Cobra. You get the screw down versions, and that's the very top images that you see there, characterized by head parts and a handle, or a head part and a handle, or head parts and handles. Then the very next one, a single lever mixers, characterized by a single lever being the actuator operating modus. On the inside of the body itself, you have a cartridge, a ceramic disc cartridge. And then you have your quarter turn head part or quarter turn variety, which is basically predominantly used in your medical mixers or your elbow action mixers. Okay, now with the decent explanations in terms of what exactly is a screw down. Okay, a screw down mixer or a screw down tap is characterized by a single operating control or a dual operating control or handles in terms of the screw down mixers. And the fact that the user has to physically turn these handles in a similar fashion as you would screw in or screw out a screw in a piece of wood in order to fully open or fully close the actual tap or mixer. The sealing surface of the head part is made up of a tap jumper and then the tap washer. I'm just going to encircle it for you guys so that you can see. It's on the very right hand image, just waiting for the slide to upload. Okay, done. On the piece that I've encircled, that is your jumper with the encapsulated tap washer, and at the bottom you'll see a small piece sort of sticking out. That's just a retaining nut to prevent the washer from falling out. Okay, the distinction between a normal hardware half-inch or three-quarter inch tap washer and the Cobra variety is that the Cobra variety is made of a compound of rubber that does not form a nutrient source for bacteria. So at a later stage, we're going to discuss the type of viruses, bacteria, and hojas you get in water. And one of the main concerns in water is basically Legionella. So once we get at that stage where we discuss Legionella in depth, we will see that there is optimal nutrient source for that Legionella bacteria to grow on, as well as optimum temperatures for Legionella that they thrive on. But that's a discussion for another stage. But in the interim, just please remember, bear in mind that the rubber of the Cobra washers are not a nutrient source for Legionella and other forms of bacteria. If you have a look on the products that's on the slide, the very one on the left is a bib tap. Your pillar tap will also be a variety of a screw down. And as we said, can either be a single operating function or a dual operating function in terms of a mixer. Okay. The different types of screw down head parts that we get can be easily identified by means of small change. a 1 rand, a 2 rand, and a 5 rand coin. So the moment you remove your actual head part by first taking out, removing the indice, and then your grub screw, and then the actual handle itself, and the little trim kit or dome cover, you will see that there's a head part similar to the previous slide, the one on the right hand side that we've encircled. So once the head part has been removed with a suitable type of tool, be that an adjustable wrench or a box spanner, you will see that there's an opening in the actual body of the product itself. So what you do is you take a 1 rand coin and you try to fit it physically inside that opening. Just waiting for the slide to upload. As you can see, so if the 1 rand coin fits into that actual opening of the body of the product, you will notice that this is a 15mm light pattern product. That will help you in the end, when we discuss the very next slide, it will help you to identify the type of head part that can be used for that product. And you must remember, this actual image there is of a billet tap. The same applies if you have a bib tap, to use the 1, 2, and 5 rand coin varieties. And you will, by means of doing that, you will go through a process of elimination to get to the correct type of head part that you can buy. It is very important to note that in terms of the head parts, you do not have to change the body of the product itself. You can either service the head part by just replacing the tap washer, or you can disassemble the complete head part and then basically from there on use food grade silicone grease that will lubricate the working parts of that head part, and it will make life a lot easier by turning the taps mixers on and off. Okay. The very next section is the 2 rand coin section or the 5 rand coin section. If you use the 2 rand coin, you will notice that it's a heavy pattern, and the 5 rand coin is a 3/4 inch heavy pattern. If we think in terms of why don't we get a 3/4 inch BSPT, that British Standard Pipe Thread, a light pattern head part as well? Well, guys and girls, the 3/4 inch BSPT light pattern head part is in essence the 1/2 inch BSPT heavy pattern head part. So yes, we therefore do not need that 3/4 inch one. Just waiting for the very next slide. Okay, done. The very next slide indicates the actual head parts. So these head parts that's indicated there, that is your 1 rand variety. Also, if you think in terms of the type of products you get, your billet taps and your bib taps will use your 61 head parts. As we go through the type of head parts, you will notice that the 1 and the 3, the second numerical, is basically always the same. It's just the first numerical that changes with regards to the type of head part there is. But the 1, in this case, the 61, will be indicative of all your short type of activating functions, similar to your bib taps and billet taps. The 63, the 3 is indicative for your underwall or behind tile or in-wall application, where you would physically build the body of the product in the wall and fix it with mortar, and then you've got your plaster, and then you've got your tile. So you need a longer section, which is called the spindle. Just indicating it there. Okay, so that spindle section obviously needs to stick out further out of the wall so that you can affix your trim set or your dome cover, as well as your handle, indices, grub screws, and so forth. Okay, just waiting for the slide to upload again. Okay, the next batch of head parts is basically your 2 rand variety. As you can see, the 81 and 83 head part, the 1 and the 3 is exactly the same as the previous batch. However, the 80 or the 8s is indicative of 15mm heavy pattern or 20mm light pattern. In terms of the 15 and the 20mm on the 2 rand variety, as well as your 1 rand variety, it is the fifth, it indicates the actual connection size of the product. So if you think in terms of a billet tap, you will probably fix it or fit it on top of a 2-tap hole basin. Right hand side is hot, left hand side, I beg your pardon, left hand side is hot, right hand side is cold as you face the basin. Underneath there's a threaded tube section that goes through the basin that you affix with the back nut, and then you screw your flexi hose into that. So the 15mm on the 1 rand variety as well as on the 2 rand variety is that connection size there. If you have a look on the very left side of the 2 rand variety, you will notice that there's a head part 21. The one, yet again, is indicative of the pillar and bib tap variety, the short spindle sections. However, the 2 is an anomaly in terms of your head parts. This head part is your medical mixer or elbow action mixer. It is a quarter turn head part. So just within another slide or 3, we'll explain the quarter turn head part functionality properly, and you will understand exactly how it works. But in a nutshell, if you think in terms of a quarter turn, if you look at a protractor, 360 degrees is obviously a full turn, and a quarter turn will then therefore be 90 degrees. So what happens with this head part is if you activate it or open it, it's literally 90 degrees and the product is fully open and you've got full flow. This head part 21 can only be used on 15mm heavy pattern products. As you can see, it falls under the 2 rand category or classification. So if you have any existing 15mm heavy pattern or 20mm light pattern product, you can use your head part 21 by literally removing your 81 head part and screwing in the head part 21, your quarter turn. Now, the reason why we would have something like that is if you think in terms of people aging and battling with osteoporosis and osteoarthritis and normal arthritis, and battling to open a normal tap or mixer in terms of the screw down functionality, you can install this head part 21, making those products a quarter turn functionality. So the quarter turn functionality is then basically literally a quarter turn 90 degrees and you've got full flow of water. This is obviously a heck of a lot easier for people battling with osteoporosis and osteoarthritis. The actual problem with the head part 21 and your normal 15mm heavy patterns or 20mm light patterns, you cannot use the head part 21, this quarter turn head part, if the existing product has been reseated. So reseating is a specialized type of tool that is used in the plumbing industry, whereby you would, on the normal product, unscrew or undo your head part, insert this tool, and on the seating area of the product, you would cut away that seating area ever so slightly and level it out and make it smooth to be a proper sealing surface. Now, if you have a look on the head part 21, from the actual threaded size to where it needs to bottom or seat in the product, that is exactly 21 millimeters. So if you take away of the body of the product, the seating area deepens and obviously will not be 21 millimeters again or anymore. So the head part 21 will not seal properly in any product that's been reseated. So therefore, you cannot use the head part 21 if a product has been reseated. If it's not been reseated, by all means, no issues. I'm just waiting for the slide. Awesome. So the last two head parts is basically your 5 rand variety. That is your 3/4 inch heavy pattern or 20mm heavy pattern. Yet again, you will see that the 1 and the 3 also appears in the 5 rand variety. And it is yet again for the 1 is your pillar and bibs, and your 3s is for your underwall, under tile, in the wall type of application. Typically in a shower, where you have your hot on the left, cold on the right, and you use those two in order to blend the water to the desired temperature, and obviously it will come out at the shower head or the hand shower functionality. The 9 on the last section is then indicative of the 20mm heavy pattern or 3/4 inch heavy pattern. You guys are still okay? Understand fully? If there's any questions, please don't be shy. Ask the question. Okay. The very next slide is basically just elaborates or puts it into perspective what exactly the 3 means on those 1 rand, 2 rand and 5 rand varieties. As we said, the 3 indicates that these headboards are used for under wall or under tile or in the wall concealed type of applications and installations. Okay, just waiting for the next slide. Okay, yet again, 1 rand, 2 rand and 5 rand variety, the 61, 81 and 91s. The one is indicative that the headboards are used for pillar tap and or bib tap installations. I just want to go back one slide and just maybe explain something with regards to the top or the tip of the new headboards or of the headboards. Historically, we used to have a square drive headboard, meaning that that top section is physically, literally a square, and that square would have fit snugly into your actual handle, and from there on you can use the product. Nowadays, there's been a couple of synergy projects, and we have all standardized to a spline-driven headboard. So those splines look like small little gears. And just hold on 1 second, please. I just have a little bit of a scratch in my throat. Just hang on 1 second. Righty, I'm back. Okay, so the spline-driven headboards, they function exactly the same. However, the connection is just now splines as opposed to a square drive. They still fit snugly into the actual handle, and from there on you can activate your products. Okay, just waiting for the slide. Okay, this is the one that we've just covered in terms of the ones for the pillar taps as well as the bib taps. And here we are with your quarter turn headboard, the headboard 21, or the elbow action or the medical mixers. As you can see by that cutaway of the actual disc that's used for the quarter turn headboard, the white little sections are ceramic discs that basically slide on top of each other, so that you do have a full function of the product once you've opened it completely. You will see on the images as we've attached or included there, it is not the Cobra version, the 508 CD. The 508 CD, for instance, works on a progressive cartridge, which is almost to a certain degree self-explanatory. Progressively, it gets warmer. So the moment you open it, it's cold, and as you move the lever, it gets warmer until fully hot. Okay, so these ones are, as you can see, just basically on the, let's call it average type of medical mixers or elbow action mixers. It's very similar to a screw down unit, but the handle only moves in a 90-degree arc. The quarter turn headboards also do not use rubber seals to regulate water flow, as with a normal headboard, where we discussed that you've got that tap washer at the bottom that physically seats on the seating area or bottoming area of the product itself. Okay, just waiting for the slide to upload. This is exactly what we discussed just now. Any 15mm heavy pattern tap body can accommodate the headboard 21 or quarter turn headboard, provided the tap body has not been reseated. Okay. It also saves a heck of a lot of money for people if you are battling or have fallen victim to osteoarthritis and osteoporosis by literally just having to change the headboard and then maybe a medical type handle. As you can see, it's a longer type of handle, which obviously aids in opening and closing of the product. You also get normal headboard type of handles, not similar to the Aquila ranges or the Stella Brights or a round type of handle that makes it difficult for people to actually activate it. It's more like a plus sign or a cross handle that even if you have arthritis, the activating or the actuating of the product is a heck of a lot easier. Okay. The same applies with all the other head parts. If you think in terms of, especially now Cobra specific, if you think in terms of existing products in your house, if you have, for instance, the Cobra Carina, it's that one with a triangular type handle, and you're not in the mood for triangles anymore, and you actually would want something with an acrylic look and feel, then it would be the Stella Bright. You leave the actual product in the wall or attached. You physically remove the head part. If the old one still has a square drive and you need to replace it with a new variety that's got the splines, then you basically buy the new head part or a head part complete. You screw it into the body of the old product and you've got a complete new look and feel. Especially the people that's interested in aesthetics or keeping up with fashion trends, yet the look and the feel remains a bit of a classic type of look and feel. You can do that. It is definitely a lot cheaper as opposed to having to chalk out walls, having to replace complete taps or complete mixes. Just for sort of like your own interest, Chamberlain's group, they sell the 3/4 inch head part complete for the Carina range, the square type of handle. It's around about 610 Rand for that complete handle. Okay, just moving on, waiting for the next slide to upload fully. Okay, awesome. If you think in terms of your garden variety, your garden bib taps basically all feature a rough brass finish. That means that the product itself has not been polished to a full shine. It's not been chrome plated or nickel plated or done anything with. As it comes out of the factory, it's a DZR brass body as well as a DZR brass head part with all the normal functioning and operatings of a normal head part. The image indicated on the left-hand side, that will basically be your 15mm garden bib tap variety. In the old days, we used to have that head part coming out with a gland backing, as I've encircled on the image on the right-hand side. That gland backing basically ensured that the water does not come through the internal workings of that head part and seep through out at the handle. Okay. Just waiting for the slide. There you go. Okay. So in the old days, if you still have the 15mm, it's the smaller variety of garden bib taps in your garden, and there's a bit of it's not really a leak, there's water pushing through at that handle section, especially if you've got back pressure. Back pressure means that you are limiting the normal flow of water coming out at the terminal fitting. The garden bib tap will be a terminal fitting because the water ends there. Unless you put on a hose pipe, open it up, and then you close it at the front of the hose pipe. Then obviously that will be your terminal side if the garden bib tap is fully open. So now your garden bib tap is fully open, you've got your hose pipe on, you close the hose pipe at the front, and now you've got back pressure because the water can't go anywhere. Now the water pushes back up into the head part and out at that top section of the handle, and it appears like your product, the garden bib tap itself, or the handle or the head part is leaking. It's not a leak, it's just water pushing through. So what you would do is you take your adjustable wrench or you take your box spanner and you physically tighten that hex nut until it compresses the gland backing, and then that water seeping through or that apparent leak should stop. The moment there is no more thread that you can see on that nut, that hex nut, and the actual body of the head part, then that would indicate that it is time to buy a new head part, because obviously you cannot screw that nut deeper into the brass section of the head part than what it allows you to do. you cannot compress that gland backing any further, and then obviously it's a new head part. The new generation of 15mm crutch or garden bib tabs do not feature a gland backing anymore, as it is indicated by the image on the left that's encircled. It has two O-rings that basically form the same sealing surface or sealing capabilities of a properly compressed gland backing. So, guys and girls, if you do have the older variety, even at your family and friends, only a pleasure. The training department absolutely aim to please. We've just saved you a call-out fee of a plumber, so you can do that little bit of maintenance yourself and look very, very impressive. Okay, just waiting for the next slide to upload. Okay, awesome. Your single lever mixers throughout the ranges. This type of activation or actuator is only used in mixers, and the name explains its main characteristic, namely the use of a single lever to obtain the ratio of blended water, hot and cold, as well as the water flow control. The internal workings are contained in a sealed, unserviceable cartridge with ceramic discs. The aperture on the ceramic discs are such that they change the blend as well as the flow when they rotate on each other. So basically, on your single lever mixer, as we said or indicate here, it only has a single lever. You will never get a dual controlled single lever mixer, because obviously then it's not a single lever mixer anymore. On the inside of the body of the mixer itself, whether it's a concealed sparse shower mixer or diverter mixer and so forth, you will find a cartridge. Those cartridges on the very next slide comes in a variety of sizes and appearances. The top cartridge is a raised base cartridge, characterized by the bottom pieces as indicated now. Just waiting for the slide to upload fully. Okay. At the bottom of that raised section, you'll see there's two plastic protrusions. Those are called locating pins. Those locating pins fit into locating holes in the body of a single lever mixer. This will help you to ensure that you put the mixer of the cartridge inside the body in the proper alignment so that you have a proper functioning single lever mixer. The size, 35mm, 40mm, whatever size it is, you physically measure from the outside to the other outside, and whatever size that measures, that is basically the actual size of the cartridge. So now Cobra has a 35mm flat base, a 35mm raised base, and a 46mm as well. This 46mm is exactly the same cartridge as is used by Grower, and it's the cartridge that was used in the old Cobra Focus ranges, that 46mm. Okay. For those of you that are interested, there's the component number of that 46mm cartridge is 4604800. That's the component number, so if you either have an old Cobra Focus cartridge or the 46 Grower one, you can place an order for those. Okay. Grower also features a 28mm cartridge, and then Ishka features a 35mm flat-based cartridge. Okay. If you have a look at the cartridge at the bottom, those cartridges were initially used in the old designer and style ranges of Cobra, the Callisto Tapno leading edge ranges, the Rolls-Royce ranges, and these were also known as the Rolls-Royce cartridges because of the functionality thereof. At this stage, there is no product that uses this cartridge. These are Sedal cartridges. They are at this stage apparently looking at Kitec or Cytec to introduce something similar, whereby you can actually control the blend and the flow. You will do that by means of, on the actual spindle of the cartridge, there's a small little adjusting screw that you adjust with an Allen key, and the further you screw that screw into that spindle section, the more it will limit the flow by means of avoiding the handle, the single lever, to be able to be picked up far enough so that you have full flow. And that red ring on the cartridge, that red ring basically limits your blend of water. Okay. The way it limits the blend is there's also small little splines on the inside, or gears on the inside of that red ring, and also around the actual surface area of the cartridge. So you would choose up to where you should adjust your single lever to the hot and to the cold, and then you would lock it into place. When you lock this into place, whoever uses that single lever mixer will not be able to move it further to the hot side or the cold side as what this flow limiter allows them to do. Okay, all good. And then basically from our side, this is the whole sad story about Dapson Mixers 1.1. This is fairly elementary at this stage. We will definitely go into a lot more detail as the training progresses, but you guys have our contact details, our phone numbers and so forth. If you have any uncertainties or any questions, please feel free to drop us a mail or give us a call, and we will attend to any of your queries or questions with an absolute pleasure. I thank you so very much for your attendance and your interest. Wishing you an awesome Wednesday and the rest of the week. All of the best. If you guys are on the road now, drive safe, and speak to you soon.
Okay, guys, thank you very much, Eugene, for going through that with us. If there are any questions, if you can just pop them in your chat screen for us quickly, please. I believe that there has been some inquiries as to incorrections that were mentioned on the previous training, and you will see that we did correct them, so you've got the right information this time. So sorry to the guys that were in previously, but we did correct it in the session to the guys also. There doesn't seem to be any further questions on this. So guys, as Eugene said, thank you very much for your time. It is a short session today, but it is also a repeat of one that we've done before. So it's just a sort of a top up again. So enjoy your day today and the evening. Thank you very much.